During one of the heights of their animated film production, Disney decided it was time to do a live action film, specifically in 1999, and that film would be starring Matthew Broderick as the one and the only Inspector Gadget. And during this time, McDonald's decided to do a fast food premium tie-in, which is basically the granddaddy of all Build-A-Figures, believe it or not. First and foremost, I'd like to say that some of this video will be shot via face cam because this guy is so massive. And massive he is, already standing over a foot tall. Inspector Gadget in his fully extended state stands between 15 to 16 inches tall and surprisingly bears a striking resemblance to Matthew Broderick. But since this is a Build-A-Figure, here's a layout of all the pieces. Let's get started. So starting off by building Inspector Gadget, you of course have the main torso piece. First thing you want to do is you want to take the legs and you want to slot them into these holes right there. It's pretty simple. They do have a rotation, but it doesn't really work, so I wouldn't advise turning that too much. You just want to do the same on the other side, which it can get a little tricky because it is a little crowded in there, but with a little finagling, should go right in. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to take the arms, and you want to slot them into those little bits right there. And the arms, I will say, maintain full articulation and do stay in there pretty solidly. The legs are a little loose, but this thing is old. Next, you want to take the chest piece and you want to snap it into place just like so. There are two pegs, two colored pegs that snap into this chest piece, locking all the limbs in place so he doesn't fall to pieces. Other than that, you're pretty much done assembling the figure. And outside of the arm rotation, his head does rotate, and so do his feet. His feet also extend, giving him a little extra height, which is always nice. And of course, you can do the same with the arms, and make him really, really crazy looking. But now, onto his accessories. He has this little belt watch piece, which just snaps onto his waist, like so. And, of course, his signature hat, which snaps right on top of his little noggin here. And there you go. There is your completed Inspector Gadget figure. And yeah, so not too complicated, but starting off with the torso, as you can see, his neck, pretty much slam it down, and it produces some really good sparks. Surprising for its age, it's almost 20 years old. Very cool. And there's a look at the inside, so you can see how it works. Next up is his chest, which doubles as a communicator. Take a listen there. It's a very faint sound, but you can hear some of the sound effects it makes. And then there it is, open. And let me say, that is probably the hardest thing to do on this figure. The next piece we'll look at is his right arm, which doubles as a squirt gun. All you gotta do is open the little hatch there, and then use his extending arm as a pump, which can be easier said than done. And it should squirt some water out. I'm not gonna do it because water and toys typically don't mesh together well. And then the next part we'll look at is his left arm, which is basically a grabber, and you can extend it out, press a little button on the back, and his fingers will clamp downward. Pretty cool. And this is where it kind of falls short. This is I believe, a flashlight. It is, of course, his right leg, and like the other side, you can extend it. But there's a button on his shin, or not his shin, his ankle, And when you press it, it's supposed to light up. Doesn't work anymore due to its age, but oh well. And then the final piece to quote-unquote build Inspector Gadget is this leg grabber piece, which I haven't seen a lot covered in other YouTube channels, so maybe it's something good to be had here. But all you do is open up the leg and the grabber will extend out. And he also has a little red piece that hangs out the bottom of his foot. I've yet to figure out what that is for, but there it is in its fully exposed state. Next piece is the belt watch, which surprisingly fits on my wrist. It ain't that big. How long is it? Like 2 millimeters? I don't know. Like a toothpick. But it fits on me, so it should fit on any other kid. And then last but not least is his iconic siren hat. Now the sirens don't come off, although that would be an interesting feature. But all you do is spin the propeller, it makes that ear-piercing sound, and is a little big on his head, but it's a premium. What do you expect? And of course, in his combined state, some of the features from the individual parts that make up Inspector Gadget are lost, but you do still get a decent amount of playability with this guy. For example, his hat, which we'll just remove, because it does like to pop off occasionally, still makes the ear-piercing noise, and so does his head. And then, of course, his arms can also move forward and extend, like I showed you earlier. And he's got the little grabbing function. And of course on this side, the water gun still works. Use his arm as the pump. Get it to go just like it did when it wasn't attached to him. The belt, if it worked, would tell you what time it is. And then the legs are pretty much just extendable. Not a lot going on with them. So yeah, that is essentially what you can do with your completed Inspector Gadget figure. So yeah, at the end of the day, is it perfect? Not really. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give him about an 8. The proportions are a little off, but you know, it's the granddaddy of all Build-A-Figures, as far as I can remember. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's edition of Throwback Thursdays, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later.